Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing chapter 1 of this book, and we're going to do a basic introduction to Visual Studio and C#. Alright, answer these questions by reading the text. You can find these things in the chapter, so hit pause and go do that. Or you can just wait and I will show you. Alright, how do you open an existing solution? Well, when you open up the Visual Studio, there's a thing that says Open Project, so you can click on that Open Project. So I've already opened it, but I can go File, Open Project, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Assignments folder, and you're going to go to the Murach's Book Applications. We're going to go to Chapter 1, Financial Calculation, and you have some choices here. We can open up the project or the solution. We want to open up the solution. This will only open half the stuff. This will open all the stuff, so we'll double click on that, and it's already open here. So I've got that. What is a Windows form? Alright, if you look at this thing, this is a form. This is a Windows form. It's just like a little window, a regular window that you would see in Windows, and it has the X and the minus, the minimize. Okay, so this is a Windows form. So this is what we're going to start off building. Okay, what is a web form application? A web form application, so Visual Studio can build stuff that will go on the web as well. Okay, so it has ability to make all kinds of stuff. So it can make stuff for the Windows, it can make things for the phone, Windows Phone, it can make things for the web, it can make all sorts of things. What is an IDE? IDE is an integrated development environment. So when we were in Greenfoot was the IDE. Now Visual Studio is the IDE. So it's all the tools, all the stuff that goes in here that allow us to build the things that we need. Okay, give me an example of an IDE. Just did. What is the .NET framework? Okay, so the .NET framework is basically all the stuff that works together so that you can make one project, and it can work on a Windows Phone, it could work on the internet, it could work on the Xbox, and the way that it does that is it uses a virtual machine. Okay, and so a virtual machine is something like this. Okay, so you can use different languages. You can use C#, C++, Visual F, Visual Basic. You can use different languages, right? But what they'll do is all these languages will use libraries and classes. So just like in Greenfoot, we used to use the mover class, or we use the actor class. And so somebody had done some work before. Same thing. People have done a lot of work before us to make our job easier. So we have these libraries, and what it does is it takes if you did it in this, or this, you can use these same things, and it'll turn it into a common runtime, a common language, which basically means instead of turning it into machine language, it'll turn it into kind of this language that's similar to it, except for it runs on the .NET platform, so it's like a virtual machine. Okay, and the reason that's nice is you can make one app that will work for Windows XP, 7, 8, the phone, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's move on and keep talking about the .NET framework. Okay, so the .NET is like a virtual machine. Okay, so have you ever installed ROM on your computer so you could play your old Nintendo games? Well, basically you have an application on a computer that's acting like the whole computer, or it's acting like the whole game system. And so the .NET does the same thing. And so the cool thing about that is that if you install that ROM on a PC or a Mac, well, that game will work on both of them, right? So what's the advantage of a virtual machine? I just told you. Okay. Okay, so using the virtual machine is kind of like this. So you're using the Visual Studio as your integrated development environment, right? And built into that you have your compiler, right? Okay, so you design your Windows form. Okay, so you have all your files and everything that you've made saved, right? Well, you hit the run button or the compile button, and it goes to the compiler, and the compiler doesn't turn it into machine language that will work on the PC. It turns it into an intermediate language that will work on basically any computer or any device that has the .NET framework, which is kind of a virtual machine, right? By the way, you can see over here that we have our class references. What's that saying is not only is it going to use the stuff that you've done, but it's going to take all the stuff that somebody's done before you and put all that together. into a common language runtime, so that's going to run on the .NET framework. So somebody has already gone ahead of you and installed the .NET framework on your PC so that it will work. Okay, so now let's talk about the nitty-gritty of it. Where is the toolbox? Well, I don't know. Somebody deleted my toolbox, so let's go view and turn on the, do you see toolbox anywhere? There it is. Turn on the toolbox. Okay, so here's the toolbox. The toolbox normally goes over here in the corner, but for some reason I've got it. But anyway, so the toolbox, okay, we're going to dock the toolbox over here. Okay, good. Hold on. Okay, so our toolbox is right over here, and so basically we can add buttons, check boxes. You can add all the sort of things that will go under your form. Okay, so the toolbox is where all of your controls and tools are. Okay, where is the Solution Explorer? The Solution Explorer is over here. It shows us that somebody named these things nicely. There's 3 forms that are part of this application. Okay, and these are, not only are these forms, but you can see from the CS that they're classes that are using the C# programming language. Okay, so basically the Solution Explorer shows us all the stuff that's part of the solution, and we can also see the references, which are basically the classes that we're using that somebody's written before us that allow us to make a Windows form real easy. Okay, where is the properties dialog box? Okay, so if you take a look, if I click on this thing right here, alright, well this right here is a combo box we see, and we can see the size, we can see some different things about it, and so you can change the properties of that control over here in the properties window. Alright, what is the code editor window? Okay, the code editor window . Okay, so if we right-click on this thing and say View Code, we can see the code editor window, and we can see the code, which is in C#. And C# is an awful lot like Java, which we will find out as we go along. Okay. Okay, so just so you know, so this shows the project. Okay, so this shows the whole solution. There could be multiple projects part of it. So these things are the namespace references, which is all the stuff that somebody's put before us, and so on and so forth. So just part of the Solution Explorer. And my computer's not running very well. Okay, so how do you build a project? How do you test a project? Okay, so if you want to build a project, basically, which means you're going to compile it and turn it into the .NET machine language, you can hit Build. If you want to run it, you just hit that Start button, and it'll actually run it, and you can play it. Okay. Okay, so here is one of the 3 forms that we saw. So we want to calculate the investment. We click this button. So we say, I want the future value. I'm investing $100, and it's a 7% interest rate, and I'm going to do that for 20 years, and I'm going to calculate it, and so by the end of the 20 years I have $52,000. Okay.